me and keep lace the drill, be watching. Girl, he try to lure me and lock me. You gotta get up early, cause who's getting played is not me. Surely you just, she said, if you thought I was.
Revive is alive. Once again, Revive is alive. I want you guys out there to follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Revive_P.O.C. And don't forget to subscribe to that Revive newsletter where you can find at ReviveIsAlive.com. Once again, that is ReviveIsAlive.com. Spread the word, spread the message. It's me, your girl P.O.C, host of Revive Radio.
You are listening to Revive Radio. The views and opinions expressed on Revive Radio does not necessarily reflect ownership, management, and advertisers of Revive Radio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You already know what time it is. ReviveIsAlive.com. Once again, ReviveIsAlive.com. Tune in. Revive is alive.
Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. All I need is one mic. You know what time it is. Open up your ears. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. It's about that time. It's your girl P.O.C. Hey. It's your girl P.O.C. Hey. Proof of consciousness. P.O.C. You know what time it is. Open up your ears. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. All I need is it's about that time. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive. Man, it's me, your girl P.O.C, host of Revive Radio. We are back live on ReviveIsAlive.com, man. Once again, that is ReviveIsAlive.com. Each and every morning, you gotta get up anyway, so why not get up with me, your girl P.O.C. Starting at 7 a.m. on Revive is Alive, Revive is Alive, ReviveIsAlive.com. I am back, and I am better, man. I'm excited to be back on these airways. I've been gone for a minute, but I'm excited to be back. Today's the return of Revive is Alive, man, because Revive is Alive 365, 24/7 a.m. to the p.m. I got my guy Russell in the building. Today is Monday, so you already know, man, each and every Monday is Money Talks Monday live here on Revive Radio. Shout out to my guy Russell, man. He's not just about the money, he's about the numbers. It's the numbers that count. It's the numbers that add up. It's the numbers that show you better than they can tell you. And he was just telling me a little bit about that, you know what I mean, prior to getting onto air. And I'm like, yo, I thought it was just me who paid attention to numbers, you know, especially when you sleep, you know, when you're riding and you just look up and you continuously see the same number over and over again, and you wonder, like, what does that mean to you? You wonder, what is that going to bring to you? And numbers are the only thing I truly believe that do not lie to you. You know what I mean?
Right. The universe is all mathematics. So, you know, everything is numbers, from the way your body functions, the way the universe functions. Every single thing is about numbers. So I pay attention to when I rise. I take a look and I go into my phone and pull the angel number that corresponds with the time that I rose that morning. I also look at numbers as it relates to checks I receive. If I receive a check that has, you know, a number on that check, then I will look up that angel number actually that corresponds with that number that I received on that payment.
Big fact.
So a lot of times, you know, these things are telling messages. So, you know, you just have to pay attention and be aware.
I'm with you on that one. That was definitely something that I wanted to mention because, you know, it's probably a lot of people out there that feeling alone, like myself. And then when you brought it up, I'm like, yo, let's make sure we put that out there so people can actually start to pay attention to numbers, especially because we're talking about numbers each and every Monday. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people who are listening, when you come on, they really want to get off their 9 to 5 and start this entrepreneurship journey, or they just want to find other streams of income. That's what a lot of people are trying to do, just finding other streams of income.
And I think that's one of the easiest ways for the angelic world to communicate with you is through numbers, and a lot of times we're not tapped in as far as going into a lot of different different procedures or rituals, if you like, to get messages. So it's one of the easiest ways for them to pull your coattail to something they want to, you know, impart to you.
I definitely agree with you on that. And let me ask you a question. I just want to start off this segment just a little bit different. I want to start off with a vocabulary word, if you don't mind. Okay? Because a lot of people, when you hear these words, they don't necessarily know exactly what they mean.
You're talking about those business words or whatever?
Yeah, the business vocabulary
let's
words.
save that. Let's bundle that for next week because that's bundled into the stocks and bonds conversation that we're
Okay.
next week.
Okay. All right, got you.
So let's press on to
What the topic is today. The
Yeah.
topic of today is reparations, right? And the reason why I wanted to bring up reparations because that's what every 2020 candidate is talking about.
Right.
Especially if you are a Democratic nominee. You're definitely talking about reparations because you want to get that air quote minority vote. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you are appealing to that minority vote because that minority vote is actually going to help you win the candidacy and then also win the actual election in general.
right.
So whether it's the primary or the main election. So I wanted to actually just get your opinion about it. So I had a couple questions about reparations. If you can just define it in your own way, you know, what you would say reparations is, that would be cool too.
Well, reparations is actually healing of a wrongdoing or injustice that has been done to a people. Since 1971, the United States alone has practiced reparations 8 times, and they have given monies to various Indian tribes, Eskimos. They even have Japanese Americans. They gave $1.6 billion to the Japanese Americans, or $20,000 apiece to them for reparations. So it has been done. There are precedents for this activity. It's just that when it comes to us, the people who are enslaved and brutalized and murdered and kidnapped to this country, the reparations idea goes off the table.
Always, as if they don't owe us anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I want to ask you this question because it has like a pretty much a 2-part definition. It says either paying money or otherwise helping who you have wrongly done.
Yeah, to restore where they were originally, back to the original condition.
So when it comes down to reparations in the conversation surrounding the 2020 election, should we be looking as a community, as a minority, air quote, I gotta just air quote because I'm not a minority, but as being part of the minority community in the system, what should we be looking for? Should we be looking for help such as jobs? Should we be looking for help such as equity, land, different things like that? Or should we be looking for the actual tangible dollar?
Well, the thing of it is that all of those things, you need to have land, you need to have your own monies to set up your own economic base. You should be able to have the wherewithal to self-govern and to have your own economy, much like Black Wall Street and the other areas where we were thriving, and then thriving to the point where we had to be suppressed. So I think there's a fear associated with such. I also feel that when you get into the space of what will the country look like, let's say, for example, if every family was given a significant amount of money, what would that look like? Okay, now you would have to have some sort of freeze on capitalism to make it work, because if they do such, then the loaf of bread will be $30. And your car, the $17,000 will be $117,000 because of the fact that they know that there's been money infused into the economy. Can you imagine the marketing systems that would go against us, and all the predatory stuff that would go if that money was actually infused into the community? So you have to have some sort of preparation for such, and it's just not a simple matter of
preparation for the reparations.
Well, preparation for the reparation, and that has to be part of the continual conversation, in my opinion. If you're going to, because there's no sense of infusing millions or trillions of dollars into the economy if the backlash is that it's going to be financially predatory on the people who receive such monies,
because they're not going to necessarily know what to do with the money once.
Well, the thing about it is that if not only not knowing what to do with it, it's almost like the lottery thing. Most people hit the lottery and they're broke within a 5-year period of time. This situation will manifest itself again because of the greed of capitalism. But basically, if they know that you have the money, then every single thing will be inflated to the point to take all your money from you.
they will find a way to take the money that they just
the
gave
taxes,
you right back, right?
Right. For example, you take a situation that you take a so-called depressed area in the city and whatever, and next thing you know, the taxes on the housing will grow up 3,000%. You know, everything you do would be so much more that you would have to spend money hand over fist. Not to mention that all the designers and everything else will onboard themselves in this process and everything else. And, you know, everybody will be trying to run around and get everything that they thought they would ever want. But it will siphon your money away from you.
Because it was owed to them, too. And
right.
they will feel that way.
Right. So again, if you don't actually have control of your own economy, your own system of monies and so forth, then it's like it's almost like all right. So when they got rid of slavery, they had sharecroppers. So sharecropping thing was, okay, you're going to actually work the land for a certain amount of time, so the land could eventually become yours. But it never could ever be because of the way that it was designed. Okay, you had to buy all the tools from the guy that owned the land. You had to buy all the seed from the guy that owned the land. You had to rent the equipment from the guy that owned the land. So by the time you did all those other mathematics or such, you never was able to get above poverty. And that would be the same type of systemic problem, unless the discussion is full circle as to how do we actually give these monies or actually impart with these monies in these lands without it being predatory on the people who received it. Just like the 8 times that they gave out reparations before, there wasn't overrun inflation. There wasn't overrun mechanisms in place to siphon the money.
But you also got to think about it. The people that you name, they also have leaders. You know what I mean? They're also in a position of power where the money that was distributed to them, it was actually distributed to them in a way where they could actually gain, you know what I mean? And they were actually put in I don't know how to explain it, but they were put in positions where they can put other people in positions of power to have some type of ownership. Let's think about it. They gave out that 1.6 billion or 1.6 million, and now you have a Chinatown in every city in America.
Right. But the other side of it is that since the beginning, almost the inception of America, these other groups that are named have not, except for the Indians, but they were suppressed at a certain point in time with the reservations, stuff like that. Right. But the point of the matter is that they're not the overall threat in America.
Big fact.
So the people who are the overall threat
that
in America are us. So you know, that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, and how do you give reparations for a group of people that there is so much energy put into the suppression of such, as far as educationally, as far as healthcare, as far as employment, as far as every other category that somebody could sustain life. There's a program or a monitoring system as to how well we thrive or how what's our demise. You know. So basically, there's statistics that's being kept on us constantly, as well as the fact that I don't have the pure fact, but I have logic that says to me that there's no way that you could actually be in this country for 400 years or so and procreate at the volume that we do and end up being 12% of the populace. And that doesn't make mathematical sense to me. But so, you know, again, if the reparations were to occur, then that would shine light on exactly what the true population is. That would shine light on the actual power that's within us as a people and so forth. And then if you're going to do it the correct way, then if you say, okay, let's go ahead and carve out a certain area of the country or whatever the case is, and this is where you guys can actually operate with autonomy and create your own society and things like that. That experiment has been done before, and when it was done, it was not something that was well received because those communities started to thrive and figure it out and get it together. So, you know, contrary to popular belief about us not being ready for certain things on a structural level, it's an impossibility that all these people have graduated from these universities and work in all these various levels of government and not have the knowledge to pull this thing off if it was actually something that was given to us. But
the biggest fear that I have about the reparations, like I mentioned to you, is the the position of power. You know what I mean? We don't have, and I'm not trying to say this, very bluntly, but I feel as though at this current time in 2019, we don't have leaders in positions that can actually help move us forward. You know what I mean? Because if that was the case, then we will be moving forward right now before the election, was even started. The election period even started. So it's like, that's one of the biggest fears I have. So when this money is distributed, let's just say they give us money. Let's just say they give reparations to us all. When the money's distributed, who's distributed to? What about that top 1%? Who's going to have to pay that money back? If we're going to have to pay that money back, if it's going to be a rebate, it's so many different things that go in my mind. It's like, and then who do we actually talk to about that? Do we talk to the white man about the dollar that they just gave us too?
Well, I think that when you actually start looking at things organically, holistically, spiritually, leaders will actually evolve.
Okay.
Right now, we have an approach that we have adopted because this is the approach that we have been subjected to, is that leaders are manufactured. When they actually look at candidates, they want to look at, if it's a man, he has to be this amount of inches tall. He has to be this amount built. He has to come from these different schools. He has to be married at this, a certain length of time. It's great if he has 2.5 children, and in the whole recipe of what we think a leader is. But a leader could be a guy that is 4'5" and what you would seem seemingly unattractive or nerdy or whatever the case is. He could actually come from meager background and things like that, but he's naturally gifted into doing what he has to do. He's spiritually guided to be the leader. But in the way that we actually look at politics and how we judge people, that person will never come to the forefront.
Fact.
So if you have a woman who is basically, you look at the gymnast several years ago, and all the acclaim they made over her in terms of how she had her hair done.
Simone Biles.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So that's where we're conditioned to. It's not that. Her physical attributes went right out the window. Her accolades went right out the window because
she can really do it.
Yeah. So the fact that
Talented.
So there was so many weeks and months spent on how her hair should have been or should not have been or whatever. It cheapens who she was. So when we actually have a level playing field, then you're going to see people emerge in leadership that would not be able to be welcome to the table right now.
Facts. So, but do you agree that before any of this happens, we have to have a rebirth, a revive of leaders that can actually help, move us as a culture forward? Because, as we talked about before, we have a $1.3 trillion spending power and buying power, I should say, not power, buying power. And we're not necessarily doing anything with 1.3 trillion. So picture if they give everyone anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000. You know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily something that we just want to distribute amongst a culture and not necessarily have any, forward thinking or, something that can actually make a shift in the culture or the system or society, in the way that society is downplaying us, from unemployment to entrepreneurship to ownership to actually having land to actually having, like you mentioned, our own banks, our own Wall Street. There's so many different things that we need as a culture that we're missing.
I think that you cannot calculate the amount of damage that's been done to us, and $10,000 a piece would be actually a slap in the face.
The biggest slap in the face.
So I think that you can't measure that amount. But here's one of the things that you could do. Let's say, for example, that reparations is just a bunch of talk, and it's just a hot button item right now, and nobody has any real a solution to the problem or a real intention to actually address that. Let's just put that on the table for now. What can you do to set up your own reparations? Well, the only thing that you could do to really legally that you have in front of you right now to ensure the fact that now this thing is going to be kind of painful for people to hear because it's not going to impact your lifetime. You have to have the guts and the love of future generations to set people up. You have to be the ancestor to somebody else that puts them in position. And the way that you do that is the only way that you could guarantee that the people that come after you will have a great life is via life insurance. It's the only way that you could actually have somebody who makes $30,000 a year to ensure the fact that her children and her children's children will be millionaires. All you have to do is, and we talked about this before, is gut it up and pay that premium. I mean, you could sit here and wait for reparations, and wait for somebody to give you something, and wait for somebody to give your children an opportunity or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that in most instances, you're going to pass away before your children do, and you're able to set your family up through life insurance mechanisms or a trust or something like that to ensure that generations will be affected. Which means that, let's say, for example, that you set up a policy that is, if you're young enough, you can set up a policy for like $5 or $10 million to go to your heirs. It's not gonna cost you a lot. It's gonna cost you. Know what it's gonna cost you? Probably, in all likelihood, the pair of 2 pairs of sneakers a month. Probably. You know what I mean? to actually do that. And what's going to happen is that you'll say, instead of just having the money dispersed at the time of your death and having people mismanage it, you could say, okay, this money is going to go to a trust, and you guys will receive a stipend every month or whatever it is. And if your children go to college or whatever it is, or graduate college, then they will receive X amount of money. And then you will actually empower your children to do the same for their children and so forth. So now you have a generational wealth that you created without having to march and beg and all that other sort of stuff. Because the thing about it is that you should not have to march and beg and cry for something that's right. These other people, these 8 times that reparations were given and so forth, I don't remember, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see a bunch of marches being done and different things of that nature. I didn't even know that these things were occurred because these were injustices that people have presented to some people, and those people in government decided that we were going to go ahead and make this right. Now, this thing that we were talking about, reparations, as far as us, has been going on for decades and decades and decades. And the thing of it is that do I think it's going to come to fruition? It very well may come to fruition, but I don't think that if it does come to fruition, it's going to be anywhere commensurable to the injustice that was done.
Definitely.
So you got to take the bull by your own horns, manage your own family, and realize this. And I said this before, but you got to realize that the insurance companies made tons of money. The reason why they exist is because of the slave trade. The reason why they exist is because of the slave trade. When we came over on the ships, we were cargo. That means if we died or jumped overboard or whatever it is, we were paid for, just like if you lose any other type of merchandise. When we got here to the Americas, and one of us, as every baby was born and everything else, there was life insurance put on those people, because if they actually were to die, then that's a portion of your business that has gone away. Now, if they ran away from the plantation, and the bounty hunters came out, a lot of times working for the insurance companies, and got you. They repoed you and brought you back to the plantation. So therefore, that insurance claim did not have to be paid. So you can use the same mechanisms that help enslave you to actually give you your own reparations. You just have to be smart about it.
Agreed. I definitely agree with you. Thank you for dropping that gem and that little history fact check right there too. Shout out to my guy Russell Dix, man. You can catch him live here on Revive, man, each and every Monday with Money Talk Mondays. And I know you gotta go, but I want to just bring this up just to wrap it up and bring it full circle.
Right.
So Mitch McConnell, you know, he's actually someone who recently came out about reparations and said that he doesn't support reparations because it technically did not happen to anyone who is now alive.
Right. Well, the thing of it is that you could make the same claim for the folks, and I support their mission when they say never again. When you go to Washington D.C., you go to the Holocaust Museum, they actually are they're saying that there was a ripple effect as to whatever was done to them in Germany and so forth. So not only were they able to correct it within the same lifetime as some of the people that were some of the people that were affected by it, but they were able to sort of head it off at the pass, so it would not be what happened to us. I mean, you know, who knows that we may be the model for not letting things go generationally.
Facts.
You know, so and without, I'm sure that there's some language or some conversation that when people go for reparations, I'm sure that we are the test model of, listen, you can't do to us what you did to them.
That's what we're thinking. That's what we
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
That's the MO we're actually putting out.
Exactly. And then the other thing about it is, all right. So before I leave, I'm saying, if you were thinking about this realistically, a lot of people will agree that people that look like you and I actually built the pyramids. People that look like you and I actually came up with all the tons and tons, thousands of thousands of the wonderful inventions that we enjoy today.
Still to this day.
Right, exactly. What happens when you give those same type of people, descendants of those people, the type of equal footing? What happens? So therefore, you cannot necessarily do that.
Awaken that beast one more time.
Right.
And
right.
In today's time, we have technology, so the advancement will be on a whole nother level.
And I tell you what, if you want to go ahead and give yourself some good entertainment, go to YouTube and look up Dana Stevens. Dana Stevens, and look at some of the videos Dana Stevens is talking about in terms of who we are and what our destiny is, and what our role is going to be in this universe and the upcoming generations. Take a look at Dana Stevens.
I got you. I appreciate you, Russell, always. So we getting that 40 acres and a mule or no?
40 acres and a mule is like giving somebody 15 cents in terms of what's done. But I think that what needs to happen is that either somebody's going to have a serious discussion, or they're going to have an actual plan of action, and if not, take the bull by your own horns, handle your own financial matters, set your future generations up for success.
No doubt. Russell, once again, just tell them how they can find you, how they can stay locked. You got a lot of things going on, how they can invest in your company as well.
Right, sure. You need to go to ineedacdl.com. We actually help people get commercial driver's licenses so they can control their own destiny. We'll come home from jail or any other type of legal circumstances, and you can make anywhere between $100,000 to $250,000 a year by taking control of your own destiny.
No doubt, man. Support who supports you. We appreciate you, Russell. He'll be back on Monday, next Monday. We have more conversations. So once again, if you do have a question, a comment, anything, hit me up right now at revive.poc@gmail.com. Send your questions and your comments through, or you can hit us in our social media at revive_POC, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We appreciate you, Russ.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
No doubt. Man, you already know what time it is, man. It's Meet Your Girl P.O.C. We are live right now on ReviveIsAlive.com, man. Turn your radios up each and every morning starting at 7 a.m. We are back in the studio. Today is July 1st. I have to give a huge birthday shout out to my best friend Ariel, man. She's over there in Aruba just having it up. You know what I mean? I'm looking at all the little Instagram snaps doing it big, man. Happy Earth Day, birthday. We getting old, man. I love you to death, man. Enjoy your birthday. You already know, man. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. We got a jam-packed show for you guys. We got some more trending topics and current events each and every Monday, man. Money Talk Monday, live with your guy, Russell Dink. Send your questions, send your topics right now. Let's go. Turn your radios up.
DJ Can't Tame.
Never sprung, huh? Love my style. I love misses, thug misses, shy misses, rough misses. Don't matter, you're my misses. Gold diggers with your eyes on my riches. Can't knock your hustle for reals, I misses.
I got no time for fake ones. Just sip some crystal with these real ones. From east to west coast, spread love, son. And while you keep talking shit, we count bank funds. I got no time for fake ones. Just sip some crystal with these real ones. From east to west.
Revive is alive. Once again, Revive is alive. I want you guys out there to follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Revive_POC. And don't forget to subscribe to that Revive newsletter where you can find at ReviveIsAlive.com. Once again, that is ReviveIsAlive.com. Spread the word, spread the message. It's me, your girl P.O.C, host of Revive Radio.